Hello and welcome back to TST. If you're new to the channel, tap on the subscription button and press the notification bell so you can receive news and updates that you can rely on daily.
Dr. Fauci on CNN's Tapper Show says an earlier mitigation could have saved lives. Sunday on CNN's State of the Union, National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Director Anthony Fauci said if President Donald Trump had listened to top officials who wanted the shutdown to begin in February, fewer lives would have been lost to the coronavirus pandemic. Take a watch.
South Korea and the U.S. announced their first confirmed coronavirus cases at virtually the same time in late January. If you take a look at where we are right now in the U.S. now has 50 times more cases and almost 100 times more fatalities than South Korea. Meanwhile, while the U.S. makes up only about 4.25% of the world's population, the U.S. has 30% of the world's reported coronavirus cases and almost 20% of the reported coronavirus deaths. Sanjay Gupta said this is all because we got started too late in the U.S. Is that right? Do you agree?
You know, it isn't as simple as that, Jake. I'm sorry. I mean, to just say this is all happening because we got started too late. Obviously, if you look, could you have done something a little bit earlier? Would it have had an impact? Obviously. But where we are right now is the result of a number of factors. The size of the country, the heterogeneity of the country. I think it's a little bit unfair to compare us to South Korea, where they had an outbreak in Daegu and they had the capability of immediately, essentially, shutting it off completely in a way that we may not have been able to do in this country. So obviously, it would have been nice if we had a better head start, but I don't think you could say that we are where we are right now because of one factor. It's very complicated, Jake.
The New York Times reported yesterday that you and other top officials wanted to recommend social and physical distancing guidelines to President Trump as far back as the third week of February, but the administration didn't announce such guidelines to the American public until March 16th, almost a month later. Why?
You know, Jake, as I've said many times, we look at it from a pure health standpoint. We make a recommendation. Often the recommendation is taken. Sometimes it's not. But it is what it is. We are where we are right now.
Do you think lives could have been saved if social distancing, physical distancing, stay-at-home measures had started third week of February instead of mid-March?
You know, Jake, again, it's the what would have, what could have. It's very difficult to go back and say that. I mean, obviously, you could logically say that if you had a process that was ongoing and you started mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives. Obviously, no one is going to deny that. But what goes into those kinds of decisions is complicated. But you're right. I mean, obviously, if we had, right from the very beginning, shut everything down, it may have been a little bit different. But there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then.
Do you think it will be safe in November for voters to physically go to vote at the polls?
I hope so, Jake. I can't guarantee it. I believe that if we have a good, measured way of rolling into this steps towards normality, that we hope by the time we get to November, that we'll be able to do it in a way which is the standard way. However, and I don't want to be the pessimistic person, there is always a possibility as we get into next fall and the beginning of early winter, that we could see a rebound. And hopefully, what we've gone through now and the capability that we have for much, much better testing capability, much, much better serosurveillance capability, and the ability to respond with countermeasures, with drugs that work, that it will be an entirely different ballgame. So number one, I hope we don't have a rebound that would make this very difficult as we get into November. But if we do, and there certainly is a possibility, I'm a realist, it certainly is a possibility, hopefully we'll be able to respond to that rebound in a much more effective way than what we've seen now in January, February, March.
Tapper's face just sends you a message. The guy is not happy. Not happy at all, obviously, at Dr. Fauci's responses. It's disturbing how the fake news media anchors persistently try to put their words into others' mouths, when it's apparent that Fauci is contradicting most of what Tapper is trying to convince him to say. I mean, logic beats the BS Tapper's trying to get at. Despite being 4% of the world population, 328 million people of diverse origins from all corners of the planet traveling to and from this nation, with New York being one of the biggest, if not the biggest hub on the globe. Isn't this simple logic that the US would be one of the most hard-hit nations from such a pandemic? I mean, what would you do? Shut the whole country down when you can't even fathom exactly what's happening and how is all this going to play out? I mean, it's like what Fauci said. It's not some tropical island in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific with a minuscule population, with a minuscule infrastructure, that a rather quickly thought out decision can be asserted upon the people and the economy, thus shut it down rather faster. No. A single factor wasn't enough to determine the decision right away, right then. If people don't understand the scale of this decision, I'm sorry, then we're addressing the wrong crowd. We should be addressing those who at least try to fathom the magnitude of these matters. Only then can such allegations be minimized, unless we still have channels like CNN.
Share your thoughts and responses in the comments down below. If you've liked this report, let us know by tapping that like button down below, share the news among friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news and updates on TST. I'm David Ravine, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, stay home, stay healthy, and stay safe.